Welcome back to the channel. This is a video that I wanted to make for a long while, answering the question, what the hell is the best Hanayama out there? Now before I get started with the best actual Hanayamas, I just need to tell you that this list is my own personal favorites. And some of you who have these Hanayamas may completely disagree with me, and others would agree, and that's a matter of opinion. So whatever you're gonna hear here is all my own opinions. It's not based on history, logic, like any research that I did. It's all based on my personal feeling right now, and this can also change in the next years. So this is important for you to know before we get started. Now, Hanayama puzzles are one of the most popular puzzles in the whole world. They're really searched for, they're amazing overall and really high quality. And I think this is one of the only series of puzzles worth actually guiding people through because there's such a huge variety. It would be pretty safe to say that Hanayama is the strongest brand of high quality, cheap puzzles as of today, and I believe it will stay this way for the next few years at least. They've been around since I was a kid. I used to get them as presents at like 10, 11, 12 years old, and to this day I aim to collect all of them, and currently I have 51 of them in my collection, and I believe there are like 70 or 100. So obviously I'll be including only the puzzles that I have in my collection because I cannot really state an opinion about something I do not have or experienced, and that's about that. Another thing I wanted to mention is my philosophy about like what makes a puzzle good. That is really important to mention here because different people think differently about puzzles, you know. So some people think that the more challenging a puzzle is, the better it is. Others think that the more time something takes, the better it is. I used to be like the time kind of person that believes that, but now my taste has shifted. Like in the past 1-2 years, my taste shifted enormously, and before that I had a lot of free time, and today I barely have free time. So this means that what I feel as a good puzzle is now completely different from what it used to be. So today the way I evaluate puzzles is by how good of a puzzle they are. It means they can be really easy and take 5 minutes, but if the mental path that I needed to make in order to find the solution was interesting, fun, cool, unusual, if the pieces feel really good, if there's some movement that is mind-blowing, then this gives more points for me as a puzzle reviewer, professional expert, maestro, or whatever you want to call it, or just like a geek, that's also fine. And yeah, so this is how I see this. And also I really enjoy when a puzzle is easy to explain, because like mostly my fun with puzzles is after I solve them, show it to people. That's why I have the channel. I enjoy showing off the puzzles, talk about them, tell the stories. And this is also something that you should keep in mind, because whatever I say here is like a more casual way of view, you know what I mean? It's not from a perspective of rushing to the biggest challenge, but more of a casual person who puzzles in his free time. And that's how I see it now, although you may call me like a serious collector, whatever, I don't fucking care how you call me. But my perspective is now more of a casual person, meaning that if you're looking for gifts, then this will be a really good place for you to like get your insights from, well, at least in my humble opinion. And also if you're like new to Hanayama puzzles, then you can use this as like a purchase guide. And about this purchase guide thing, if you have never bought in Hanayama, I advise you to look at it like this. In my day-to-day, I do marketing for businesses, and one of the things I do is paid ads. In paid ads, before you understand what works, you need to do a lot of A/B tests. Like you test copy, you test creatives, many different stuff. We won't get into that. And the only way to know what works is by testing it and trying different variations. In puzzles, I believe this is true as well. If you haven't tried a lot of different puzzles so far, it will be really difficult to understand before you try the puzzle which puzzle serves you best and which is the most fun for you. So what I recommend doing if you have never bought a Hanayama puzzle before, or you have a few, try different ones that look different, that are functioning differently, that are from different difficulties, and then test your way through and try to understand what is your taste for them. And tastes can also change. I know my dog is playing here. Donnie, shake it. check it. The only way to understand what you like now is just by trying and exploring, and I think it's part of the fun of this hobby. And with that said, I think it was a long intro, but it was really important to like frame it in the right way, you know, because I can do a tier list when I just ramble about stuff and puzzles, but I can also do a tier list that will actually be valuable and resourceful and help people. And that's where I want to be. This video is sponsored by Great Puzzles, my own puzzle shop. If you want to see cool puzzles other than Hanayama's, then go check it out. And now we can start. Let's call the rows. So the first one is like a must have. First tier, S tier. A tier would be amazing experience. I think 5 tiers would be enough, where D is like horrible waste of metal. Let's add one more tier. Wow, I find it so hard to find the names for this. Not the best. I like how we go from not the best to horrible waste of metal. That's brutal. Of metal, time, and brain cells. Yeah, I like it. Okay, keeper. Yeah, a keeper. So a keeper is when a puzzle it's like a threshold for puzzles you want to have, and below that is puzzles that are fine. Amazing. So we got this. So the first one is Cast Hexagon, which is a really interesting puzzle because I struggled on putting it back together, but the whole process of solving it was pretty interesting. The puzzle type is one that I enjoy, but the size of the pieces I didn't really like. So I would rate this, because I didn't like want to resolve this or anything, but I think that most people will really enjoy it. So I put this on a keeper. Then we've got Cast Dot. Now this one has glorious moves. Like the moves of Cast Dot is something I haven't seen on any other Hanayama. The solution is not really difficult, but I believe it's pretty fun for people who are not puzzlers. And this is something I really appreciate when a puzzle does, because if something looks simple and is easy to pick up, usually they have like really simple looking pieces or a low amount of pieces and complexity, then this makes it a really nice experience. The person picks it up and it seems really easy. And after they play with it a little bit, then they realize it's not that easy, but it's still manageable and fun to solve. So I believe the Cast Dot is an amazing experience. It's not like a must have Hanayama. It's not something I would say everyone should have this, but I do believe it's a really fun solving experience. Then we've got two no-brainers, we'll skip them for now. And then we've got the Chris Ramsey Hanayama. This one is based on the ABC Hanayama puzzle, which I don't have, but works with a small ring and you need to move it through a maze. Now I really enjoy maze puzzles, and the Chris Ramsey Hanayama was okay, but that's it. Like it was okay, it's bright, it's cool. I solved it at Puzzle Guy's place. It was like a fun meme stuff, but the puzzle itself is not really like brain bombing. It's fun, it's cool. I think non-puzzles enjoy this. I personally found it fine. It was fine. So we'll put it on okay. Then we've got the Cast Cyclone. Hard Hanayamas are a weird thing for me, because on one hand, from the solver perspective, they're so much fun to figure out. But on the other hand, I don't have the capacity to sit down and solve really difficult puzzles. Like that's where I am at life. And I remember solving the Cast Cyclone and actually having a lot of struggle. But it was really fun to finally figure out. Looking at it today though, I would probably never finish it if I would not solve it on camera. And that's how I kind of feel about it even now, you know? I don't see myself solving it again, but the first time it was pretty interesting, pretty cool. So I'd put it on okay, but it's a really difficult decision. Next one is the Cast Square. That is a difficult one to rate because first of all, it's really elegant. It is beautiful, it's minimalistic, but the solve is cool. It's like fine-ish. Because it's so beautiful and the colors are amazing, I think this has a little more value than just a solving experience. You know, when a puzzle, when a product is designed so tightly to look good and to look fun and to make someone want to pick it up, then it makes the puzzle feel better for me. So I will put it on a keeper, which is B tier. Awesome. Next up is the cast hook. Now this one is severely underrated because it has some smooth motions, and I like when a puzzle has unusual movements. And that makes it really interesting to solve. And because of this, it's also fun to resolve. And I tried to resolve it a few times after I solved it once, and it wasn't really easy. So that's why I think it's a keeper. It's a really nice one. Some people don't like it because of the fit and some of the moves that are difficult to execute, but I think it's pretty awesome. Next is the cast dice. Now this one is wobbly. This is what I said about it all the time. It's real wobbly. It has a different and unusual solve. And again, anytime I rate a puzzle here on this list below like okay or a keeper, it's still a good puzzle, right? Because Hanayama puzzles are really good, but this is my tier list and I can destroy any puzzles I want. And if I destroy your favorite Hanayamas, know that I love you. It's not personal. So cast dice is pretty nice, but I don't know, it just feels a little weird. It's not tight, it's really loose. The solution is cool, but I think it's not the best. It's not a horrible waste of metal, time and brain cells, but it's simply not the best. It's fine, I guess. Now the pawn puzzle is pretty cool because they took chess pieces. I really like chess, not like puzzles, but I like chess, and they made them into small sequential discovery puzzles. Really high quality for the price. They're a little bit more expensive than the normal Hanayamas, but still really affordable if you ask me. And what I like about the pawn puzzle is like the sequential solve and the steps, and it's also really simple and it looks like a pawn. I wouldn't say it's like a really crazy Hanayama, but it's definitely a keeper and one worth having. Then we've got a cast marble. Now the cast marble, I heard it's one of the most sold Hanayamas in the world, but I think there's something really special about it because it has this frame, and inside of it you've got this ball, and you need to take them apart and put it back together. The frame looks like it's like a separate piece from the ball, and the whole solving experience around this weird four-dimensional experience is pretty nice, and the solution is also quite fantastic, I have to say. It didn't take me a lot of time, but I really enjoyed these moves, and if you solve this, you know the moves of this puzzle is wow. Yeah, it's amazing. I tried to like imagine the solution in my head, and whoo, yeah, it's good. That's an amazing experience, hands down. Next up, we have the cast rook. Now this is from the chess puzzle series. I only have these two from the series, and I solved some of them like sometime. The cast rook puzzle is okay. I mean, it's the same as the pawn, a little bit complicated, but I didn't find it to be really like crazy. You know, it's pretty basic. If you solved puzzles other than Hanayama, then it's fine. It's fine. That's it. Key 2 puzzle is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It has this like you need to take them apart, but to do this, you need to find a way to move one key inside the other, and they do these small shenanigans and cool motions. The experience itself is pretty nice. The puzzle feels really good. It's not the only key puzzle that they have some more, but this one I remember was pretty fun, and I also gave it to some of my friends and people, and actually people enjoy picking this up because it's not too difficult to figure out, and has some really cool moves, some cool subtleties. I think it has amazing tuning into detail. The details there are on point. I think I would probably put this on a keeper because it's really good, but it's not on the top 2. Next we have the snow puzzle. This is also a pretty interesting one because it's like 2 mazes combined into one with 2 pins. Each pin goes into the second plate, and the 2 plates are combined and go opposite. So in each plate you've got a notch and the pin itself. And what is cool about this is that you need to manipulate them together. It feels really weird. I know, it's like something in your mind changes when you do that. I cannot explain this, but it's a really cool experience. It's a cool experience. The solution itself is not like something that will break your brain or something. And it's pretty easy. I think it's like a level 2 or something, or maybe 3. It's difficult to rate this one actually because I find it pretty cool, but I think that some puzzles from Hanayama is better fit and experience and solution. And although this has a really cool theme, I would put it on okay. And it's a bit hard to put it with Cyclone on the same tier. You know what? Let's put it on a keeper because Cyclone is... I would never solve it again. Next up we have SNS puzzle. This is a puzzle I haven't showed you guys on the channel yet because I didn't figure it out completely. I took it apart, I put it back together. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I still don't understand it, but it doesn't seem too difficult. It's really aesthetic, that I can say. But that's it. I didn't feel like this was something really special or cool. Yeah, I put it not the best. Maybe this will change when I actually understand what's happening there. Next up we have Cast Elk. Now this is a level 5, I think, or 6 Hanayama. It's considered to be really difficult, but it's only 2 pieces, whereas the pieces are pretty complicated on their own. So this makes it into a confusing puzzle because instead of like giving you 4 super complicated pieces or 3 super complicated pieces, they give you 2, which makes this, I think, a more aesthetic experience and a little bit more, I would say, what's the word? I forgot the word. I need to start making these videos in Hebrew, man. So the Cast Elk, it looks really easy when you pick it up. And that's the point. This makes it a frustrating, I found the word finally, a frustrating experience. Because when something looks so easy to you and you start solving it and then you just don't understand what's going on, then things are getting interesting. But the solution, I wouldn't say it's like iconic or super cool, but it is pretty clever and it's fun, and I did try to resolve it a few times, and it's also pretty difficult. So on this scale, I don't think it's something that you would give to a friend and he will enjoy it, but it's something that is cool to own, and I think it's a fun solution. Then we've got the Cast Cake. Now the Cast Cake has a really brilliant solution, and I showed it on the channel and I really like it and people really liked it. And what's special about Cake is that it is really different from any other Hanayama, and it uses a weird mechanism with these spinning discs inside of it, and I would say it's actually a pretty nice one to show off, you know, because like when you look at it, it's really hard to understand what will be the solution. Some people may like find it at the same minute they see it, but others will find it pretty fun and tough to figure out. So this one is also a pretty difficult choice for me, but I would put it on a keeper. Yeah, I'm pretty hard with putting them on amazing experience. A must have on Hanayama. So next up is Cast Horse, and I think this is one of the puzzles that I wasn't too excited to get. But that's only because I solved this and knew about this before. But this kind of design is considered one of the most classic ones. It would probably be one of the first puzzles I would give to a friend that doesn't know about puzzles. So if you're new to this kind of thing, that's a must-have. It excites me in the way that it has a really brilliant trick. It doesn't look possible at first, and my mind cannot really grasp how this works at all to this day. So I think it's a really good puzzle actually, so I put it on amazing experience. But if you are new to Hanayamas, get this one. It's really good. Next is Cast Gear. This is one of my first Hanayamas, guys. I didn't ever tell you about this, but I got it at like 13 maybe. It was my 4th or 5th Hanayama maybe. And this one is really interesting because it's a maze that also goes like with a gear. So from a movement perspective, the moves of this puzzle is among the best I experienced ever on a Hanayama. And the combination of like planning and figuring out the maze and trying to take this apart and like having the tactile feeling is pretty awesome. But it's pretty clunky and it can be a little bit annoying to walk through. It can take some practice to get used to the moves and to everything. So I believe, although this is a really great solving experience, on a puzzle like quality level, I would take it a bit down. So I put this on a keeper, although the experience of the solution is really nice. Then we've got Cast Arrows puzzle. Now this one is a weird fruit for me, you know, because it's a bit gimmicky. It's fiddly. It's not bad, but it's pretty stupid. Some people will actually enjoy this, but from today's perspective, it's pretty stupid. It's not something I will enjoy resolving because like once you know the trick, it's pretty obvious. And also there's this thing about it where the arrows are too wiggly. So the solving experience is simply not so good. Then we've got the cast helix. Now this one is really interesting. And I went through this in circles until I gave it to a friend who like figured it out in 10 minutes and he gave me hints how to solve this. The puzzle design on this one is genius because the designer he really knows what he's doing, okay? I don't want to spoil the solution, so I won't go into detail, but like the epiphany in this one is among the best. And it's really interesting how the puzzle works. It's really amazing. It feels like a wire puzzle, you know, these puzzles where you have metal chunks you need to take apart. So it feels like this, but the star makes it different. And the star itself spins as well. So it's a pretty amazing puzzle, I must say. And it's really fun to also move the piece inside the star. So I will fit it in here. Next up is the delta puzzle. Now the delta puzzle is okay. It's like, it looks cool. It's triangular. I like triangles. It's metal, I like metal, but the solution is pretty lackluster, I would say. If it's your first Hanayama, you would probably like it. It's okay, it's fun to play with. It looks cool, I must say, it looks cool, but it's not that good. It's okay, it's okay. So that's where we're gonna put it. Cast rotor. This one I got in Prague a few years ago. And I solved it on the go. And this also has 2 pieces and is considered to be difficult. It's like a 5 or 6 out of 6 on Hanayama scale, Hanayama. Now this one, I didn't quite understand. Like, I mean, I solved it intuitively, tried to move it and move it from place to place, but I think it's a little bit too complicated. Too much information on each one of the pieces. I don't know, I felt like it's too complicated. It is pretty fun to play with and the pieces are elegant, aesthetic. Like this fits actually my criteria of being good, but I don't think I would enjoy solving it again. So it's okay, it's okay. Next is the quartet puzzle. This is a level 6 out of 6 and I did solve it once, but since then I didn't try. And honestly, I don't know, like I don't know where I would fit it. I do remember it was pretty interesting and unusual, but this has 4 pieces. And yeah, this makes things a little more complicated. But I do know that a lot of people really enjoy this puzzle. And again, I do this tier list based on my own opinion, not like what the world thinks. So for now, I will fit it on okay because I don't hate it, but I don't really like it. And I don't understand it enough to say how good of an experience this was because I only solved it once. And I don't remember like understanding thoroughly how it works and why. I just did it. Next is Equa. Now Equa is a weird thing. I actually enjoyed it because it is really interesting build. It has 2 pieces that go inside one another and the cage is like this triangular spherical thing, which is really interesting. I like how the sections, like the puzzle is divided into 4 sections where each section is like a triangle part kind of thing, and it's really interesting. Like the shape of the puzzle is really unusual and the movements of the pieces are really also pretty cool. The only caveat I have, how do I say this? Caveat, just feel free to teach me English in the comments. If you're annoyed with my mistakes, I will make more of these for you specially. Problem I have with it is that the pieces are sometimes need to force them, or at least I force them a little bit to move them to places. And I know that probably that shouldn't be the case, but the design of the puzzle actually kind of nudges you to this direction sometimes. So it's fine. I don't think it's like a keeper. It's like it's okay. You know what? A keeper is not a good word here because I would call this in a different way. It's not a keeper. It's because I think every Hanayama is a keeper puzzle, okay? Let's just put it here, except the horrible waste of metal. This you should have. But I'm on a mission to have all the Hanayama puzzles. So I'll just call it fun puzzle. Yeah, that's it. Fun puzzle. I think it's a good way to say that a puzzle is fun. So now we can go to one of my favorites actually, which is the cast diamond puzzle. There are a few puzzles from Hanayama that I think I solved more than 20 times. This is one of them. And this is one of the puzzles I think are most fun to give to friends, most fun to resolve. One of the best puzzles in terms of the goal you have and how it looks and what you try and the experience itself. The path to figuring it out is wow. It's amazing. And the reason for that is because it looks so easy. It looks so easy and it's rated only 1 out of 6. So it's not complicated, but still there's traps you can fall into, and mentally this is such a great experience. I cannot stress this enough. The Cast Diamond is so much fun. It's so much fun. I would probably take this with me if I would want to show someone new puzzles, because it's so fun. It doesn't require a lot of time, like doesn't require to remember too many moves. It's really casual and I love it. So I think it's a must-have Hanayama. It's one of the best. Then we've got the padlock puzzle. Now the padlock is also one of the first ones I had, and it took me a really long while to figure it out. And it uses 4 pieces, 2 of like a shackle and 2 of a padlock, half circle stuff. It's really unusual. I think the solution process is different from also any other Hanayama I saw. It has some complicated maneuvers and quite unexpected ones, to be honest. Overall, I think it's a good one. It's a good one. It's not the best. It's also not horrible. It's a good puzzle. It's actually a good puzzle. I'll put it here. Next up, Cast Plate. Now this one is the discontinued Hanayama puzzle, but I still want to put it here because I've got it and I want to express my opinion. It's really bad movement wise, okay? I'll start with the bad stuff. It's really bad movement wise. It has a ring that goes inside a like plate with holes in it, kind of like a cheesy plate. And the ring has the hole in the ring itself that allows it to be inside the plate itself. So it's like inside one ring and has this little gap. And with this gap, you can rotate the ring inside the plate to move the ring from one hole to another. I hope this makes sense. So the whole movement thing is a little clunky. Sometimes it's difficult to move. It can be quite frustrating, and something about the material just doesn't work to make this puzzle smoothly moving. Maybe that's how it just can be with metal, and it's pretty difficult to design it otherwise, I believe. But the solution itself is wow, it's so cool. This is like a maze, but it's a maze in a different dimension than what you know. And when people do that with mazes, I'm like, wow, this for me is woof, yeet. That is a good puzzle in my opinion, when someone takes a concept and like enables it with a different mechanism, a completely different mechanism. The classic maze is just a pen and paper game on a fucking, you know, a newspaper. But here they took it to another level, man. They took it to another level. And that's what I like. The core fundamentals of a maze, of having a start and end point. That's right. And then you've got a path to move, but the path is not a normal path. Each step of the path you take is different. And this makes it a really incredible experience, in my opinion. An incredible experience. It's hard to rate this, but because it's not too fun to play with, and the feedback loop of like the moves is not as satisfying as the other puzzles, which I think is a really important factor in puzzles, I would put it on fun puzzle. But the puzzle is wow, it's fantastic. The only caveat of it is the moves. Let's take the Cast Love puzzle. Now, this is the same designer of the Cast Diamond puzzle, so I'm sure you know what I'll rate it. And it's also in a heart shape, which is cool. And a cool fun fact is that the person that made this puzzle, the heart puzzle and the diamond puzzle, the same designer, actually made them in like weird 3D printed red style plastic. My friend has them in the original versions. They also have spade puzzle and a club puzzle based on the same concept. So they are pretty close in terms of design. They look different, but like the shape of this and the move of this is really fantastic. And I think the reason I like this puzzle so much is because they take in a really simple concept, and the execution of the puzzle itself and the experience and the material. This is what makes it so fun. It's not too difficult to figure out. It has a fun experience figuring it out, but not too difficult one. But what makes it so satisfying is the final movements and how it feels and how it looks, and everything about it is just fantastic. So I have no more words. I've said enough. Cast Labby, wow, I need some water. This is an amazing puzzle, but it's really complicated and has so many dead ends. The goal is to take it apart and put it back together. It's level 4 out of 6, and it's a pretty cool concept having two mazes on two sides of the same part. The other part has two pins, but they're misaligned. So this makes it a really trippy challenge, and it's really complicated. It is really complicated. It took me a few hours to start thinking in the way this puzzle requires you to. It's really straining. It takes a lot of strain from your brain to solve this. Strain from your brain is like the puzzle version of Cat in a Hat. Strain on your brain, oh my god. Because of this, the experience is quite unusual. It's tough. Like every step you take requires a different kind of thinking, so you need to rewire your brain a little bit to even start understanding what's happening here. And I like it about it. It has a lot of dead ends, maybe too much. I think too much dead ends, making it a pretty complicated one. But it's a really good one. But no one I ever gave it to solved it in like the first try. So I think it's okay. No, you know what? It's not okay. It's actually pretty good. I would say it's a fun puzzle. Yeah, that's where it belongs. Next is the Master Sword puzzle. Now, I'm a sucker for Legend of Zelda. Played so many of these games. Some of them were released before I even learned to talk. And I played them. I played the first Legend of Zelda. I played a few newest ones. I played some Breath of the Wild. I played some of the GBA ones. Anyway, Legend of Zelda is an amazing series of games, an amazing franchise. And when I heard that Hanayama is making a collaboration with Legend of Zelda, I was completely blown away, and actually met some people from Hanayama in a puzzle party 2 years ago, and I talked to them and I was so excited. And then it was when they released this, so I tried them before they were officially released. This whole story makes these puzzles really dear to me. It grows the value in my own eyes. So because of this, there's a lot of emotional connection to these three pieces, the Zelda puzzles. But if I rate them on a puzzle level, then some are better than the others and some are worse. And there's only 3, but it's enough to like have a clear perspective. So the Master Sword puzzle, I start with this one, is pretty awesome because the Master Sword is awesome. It's also a pretty difficult concept. I think most people would struggle with it. I solved it quite fast because I solve a lot of mazes and I'm pretty good at them. But design-wise, it's really good. Solve-wise, it's fine. It's fine. I think it's okay to like take it apart, put it back together. It's fine. It's cool. It has a pretty cool experience, but it's not like super duper fun. It's okay. So I'll put it on okay, which is really difficult because on design and everything else, it's amazing in my opinion. You know what? No, I cannot put it in okay when we have Cat Cyclone and Aqua there. No, it has to be a fun puzzle. Sorry, it's based on bias and me being an irrational human being, as we all are. Next, let's talk about the Cast Triforce. So the Triforce is the legendary prize that you need to find in most Zelda games, and it's like the most iconic thing that came out from the Legend of Zelda games. And it also was like the goal of the first Zelda game was to find the Triforce, and I really like the first one. So here, from a puzzling perspective, the puzzle is like really meh. I didn't find it too difficult. It was interesting. It has a solution that is different, I can say. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just not that good, man. It's just not that good. But it's the Triforce. So yeah, so it's hard for me to say. I would fit the Triforce in okay. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy, eh? It's a puzzle that I would probably give to friends and they will enjoy it, but it's an okay puzzle. It's an okay puzzle. Yeah, sorry. It's hard for me to say that as well. And then we've got the Hyrule Crest. Now, I hate puzzles of this type, the rope puzzles. I cannot understand them. I feel stupid when I solve them. I understand how this works because I learned it like to the core. I study it relentlessly because I needed to understand what the hell is going on with this thing. But I don't like the long strings and the loose like chains. I don't like this. It's not the best, although the Hyrule crest is fantastic and it's beautiful and aesthetic, and I would display it every single day, like in my I would put it on my grave. Heck, it's so beautiful, but man, I don't think it's such a good puzzle. It's my own personal opinion. Next up we have Cast G&G. I think it's a really underrated puzzle. It's pretty basic, it's pretty cool. The pieces are quite simple, and only 2 pieces. I think it's a pretty underrated puzzle, but it's not like, if I compare it with the fun puzzles we said and the amazing ones, I think it's somewhere between the fun puzzle and okay Hanayama. So it's a bit better than okay. If we had a tier here in the middle, maybe we'll like have half of these go down there, but this is lower fun puzzle tier. That's where I would put it. Next is the Cast Vortex, which used to be my most hated puzzle in my whole collection, and that was because it is so frustrating to understand and probably too complicated too. A lot too complicated. Like, I don't think a normal human being without having some kind of genius gene or a lot of experience in engineering and like working with your hands and imagination, I don't think this is solvable by a regular human. I used solution videos to understand how it works after I solved it myself. And it took me a few hours to learn how to explain the solution. I know this sounds crazy, but I resolved it again and again and again and again and again until I could make a video about it showing the solution. Which was actually pretty fun because I hated it and it used to feel impossible to me, but now it feels possible and I know how to do it. And this feels like I own this thing now. It feels like I tamed it and it's like my little doggy that I can open up and close up whenever I want to. Don't take it to the wrong direction. I think I should cut it. That doesn't matter. People here are mature, I guess. I know you won't take it to the wrong direction. So the Cast Vortex is, I used to say it's a horrible waste of metal time and brain cells, but now I think it's just not the best. It's just not the best. Though the Cast Valve, I actually just looked at the tier list and I saw that we need to fill up some gaps here. And I will take the Cast Valve here. And although I really enjoyed it, I really did, I will sacrifice it to the gods of tier lists. Although the puzzle is okay and it looks good, it's one of these blind solves or semi-blind solves. You don't understand anything of what's going on and you kind of guess your way through it. And you can feel it and intuitively like do it, but it's not a really fun puzzle. And you know what? I cannot put it in a horrible waste of metal, time and brain cells because it's not that bad, but it's not the best. I'm literally looking at the list right now and I'm really thinking which one should I sacrifice. Next up is the Cast UNU puzzle, which is really interesting. It took me a long time to solve. When I solved it, I was really happy because it has these bolts and they have 4 nuts that can go up or down. And this is a really unique mechanism and it's based on bolts, which is cool. And it's fun, it's cool and unusual. I'll put it on an amazing experience. Next up is the Cast Tube. Now this I solved recently and it's really weird. It's really weird. I believe it's the weirdest Hanayama puzzle I solved. It's minimalistic, fun, cool, looking good, aesthetic, but really weird. Has a beautiful solution, I must say. So I'll put it on okay. Next is the Cast Slider puzzle. Now this is a really good puzzle where you have 3 pieces, 2 of which are probably, yeah, they are the same, and another piece that is like a disc and they slide. I think this puzzle is one of the best Hanayamas, to be honest, because the solution here is so simple, but really tricky to find out. And when you find it out, it's so fun to do again. And this is something I really enjoy. You may notice a pattern here. I like to play with the puzzle and not just to like solve it like a challenge, because It's two different experiences. As I told before, I used to enjoy the trophy, like winning the puzzle, finishing the level, but I'm using this energy in my career, you know? So now puzzles are more laid back for me, and this is a must-have Hanayama. Next it is Cast Triple. The Cast Triple is a really difficult puzzle. And it is a bit close to other level 6 Hanayama puzzles. It reminds me a lot of the Cast Cyclone, a little bit of Vortex as well. And it's really brutal, but the pieces are fantastic. They're beautiful. It's aesthetic. It's really aesthetic, but really tricky. Would I ever try to resolve this? I'm not sure, because the first and last step, like the step of assembly, is a step that I couldn't really make fit in a good way. So when a puzzle is a bit unstable and hard to replicate the moves, I don't like resolving it too much or giving it away. So because of that, I would say it's not the best, but as a solving experience for people who like challenges, this is amazing. This is really amazing and I really like it. So now we've got to the Cast News. And the Cast News is not a bad puzzle at all. Like, there's no reason to think it's a bad puzzle. Because, I mean, it's fun. If someone who doesn't solve many puzzles solves it, I think they will enjoy it. But this puzzle is the most wrongly advertised Hanayama on the whole series, because it's not a level 6 out of 6. This puzzle is way too easy to be considered a level 6 out of 6. And this is actually pretty annoying. This is annoying because imagine if you buy a puzzle to someone who is a person who likes challenges, and he thinks that solving a puzzle is worthwhile only if it's hard and it will take him like 30 minutes or more. And you want to challenge him. And you want this person to feel the pain of solving the puzzle for the first time and doing it for a long time. I don't know what your kinks are, but imagine you want to inflict some mental damage. Or if you're a normal person, let them have fun with a cool puzzle to solve. And then you have a level 6 Hanayama that is not difficult. That is not difficult. You take your money, your hard-earned money you worked hard for. You buy this Cast News puzzle to your husband or to your father or to your son or whatever. Or for yourself, heck. And it's easy! Why? That is why it's a horrible waste of time, space, metal, and mental energy. And brain cells as well. This is the sacrifice I'm most willing to make. Next up is the Cast Medallion puzzle. It's a Cast Medallion puzzle, and it's one of my favorites because I really like mazes. This one is a really complex maze. A lot of people will not be able to solve it, but the moves are elegant. It's fun to play with. It feels like a video game. It is amazing. I solved it more than 10 times. I can do it in 2 minutes max. It is good. It's a must-have Hanayama in my opinion. The next puzzle is the Cast Loop puzzle, which is also one of the most favorite puzzles I have to give to friends. Yes, it is. It is an amazing experience. And even one time I went to like one of the most crowded streets in Tel Aviv, Israel. And I took the Cast Loop with me. And I told people, if you can't solve this in 1 minute, I'll give you money. Yeah, we actually did this video. It didn't take off, but it was fun to make. And some people actually managed to do it in under 1 minute, and most of them who did it were actually, it looked at least like they enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed it, and I think I gave it to tens of friends so far. And it is one of my favorite puzzles to bring as like an introduction. So this is an amazing experience. I do not think it's a must-have Hanayama unless you're like me and you want to show puzzles to your friends. What I do when a friend comes and I want to show them my collection is I don't give them the most hard puzzle to solve immediately. I prefer giving them something that is manageable and fun to like warm up a bit and make them want more. So this is one of the first ones I give to someone who comes, and then when they solve it, they're like, oh, what else do you have? And then I give them somewhere else. So it's a really good puzzle to have for this end. Wow, this video is really long. Next up is the cast keyhole puzzle. Now this is another variation of a maze, and as you know already, I really enjoy mazes. This has like two pieces and a maze between them, and you need to maneuver them and twist them and change like the rotations. I know that some people consider this to be a bad puzzle, but I really like mazes, and especially when they require different moves to navigate the maze that are not linear or normal. And this definitely does this in a pretty nice way, I think. I really enjoyed it. It's good, it's fun. It is not an amazing puzzle, but it's pretty fun, and I like having it. It's a good puzzle. Next is a level 6 Hanayama, which, as you saw, like most level 6 and 5 Hanayama puzzles on this list are rated low. But this one is a level 6 Hanayama that I really appreciate, and the reason for that is because it's something you can understand quite fast if you give it like a 15-minute try. And I actually saw people solve it on the first sitting when I gave this to them. And what I like about it is, first of all, the movements, the aesthetic, it looks really good. And it's really fun to resolve. Really fun to resolve. But it's not like a brilliant mechanism, no, it's fun, it's good. It's a really good level 6 puzzle, I think. It's really good. It's easy to overcomplicate it, but it's really quite simple. And I think simplicity is beautiful. It really is. And it's not like a normal fun puzzle. I think it's actually an amazing experience. If you don't have any level 6 Hanayamas, I would definitely recommend trying this one, because it's a good leap into the hard mode, but also it's not too complicated visually, but conceptually it can be quite challenging. Try it. It's cool. Cast Hex. Solved it not long ago. I do not like this puzzle. Plainly put, I do not like Cast Hex. I had fun figuring it out, but I do not like it. It doesn't feel like a puzzle, you know? It doesn't feel like something that Hanayama would put out. It feels like some kind of toy, you know? Fidget toy. Which is cool, right? Some people may enjoy this fidget toy. I think someone may enjoy taking it with them and like moving it from side to side. It actually can be quite a cool experience, but as a puzzle, I don't know, man. It's okay. I think they did something cool there with some micro details on it, so it's not completely horrible. I will give you that. It's simple. It is cool. It's a nice concept. There's also Cast Planet puzzle, which is similar to this. It's a nice concept, but it's not my cup of tea. That's it. You may like it. I do not. Next is the Cast Galaxy puzzle. Woo! I'm already 1.5 hours here talking about metal chunks that you think about. And yeah, my mind is fried by now, but we will finish this. Cast Galaxy is a puzzle that has beautiful movements. Beautiful! It has beautiful movements. I love it. And because of this, I think it's a fun puzzle. It's not an amazing experience because it can be quite frustrating if you make the wrong moves, like life can be, but it is really beautiful once you know the solution, and it's fun to solve and resolve. Next up is the Cast Flag level 1 puzzle, which is quite interesting. It is quite interesting. I liked it. I think for a level 1 puzzle, it has a really cool and nice mechanism. Definitely something I will try giving to friends, but the puzzle itself and the solution itself, it doesn't have like a really big aha moment or a big realization. It feels good. It feels fun. So the Cast Flag, I like it, but it's not a fantastic puzzle. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay, yeah. Cast Enigma, another level 6 puzzle, but this one is really interesting. It is actually really interesting because this feels like a Baroque style puzzle, looking really confusing. I believe someone who will see this will probably want to try this. And I think it really proves to be one of the hardest puzzles from Hanayama, requiring a lot of steps. It actually, like, explaining how this works from start to finish can take me 15 minutes. It actually took me 15 minutes after editing it. So it's really really complicated. It has some fantastic moves, brilliant design, and it's really fun to redo it once you know and remember what to do. And I know that this is also a favorite of some of you, and it's a really satisfying puzzle to solve, but it is not impossible, because the information on the pieces is really distinct. You can really understand what's going on, unlike the Vortex, where you actually cannot understand the difference between the pieces because they all look the same and have different notches slightly. Here you can actually know what's happening. And it can be really confusing. I do not recommend this puzzle as your first Hanayama. No, don't do that. Do not do that. It is not recommended. But if you're experienced and you believe in your skills, or you want to challenge someone, then this is an amazing experience. Yes, yeah. It's a level 6 puzzle, one of the hardest puzzles, but it is really good. Next is the Cast Donuts puzzle. Now this is a hidden mechanism that is really interesting to find, and it's really fun to do. It has this surprise moment once you do a certain thing and you realize what's going on, and then you're like, oh damn, and the solution itself, it is really good. There's a but, because if that would be the case, I would say this is a must-have Hanayama, but I do not think this is a must-have Hanayama. I think the mechanism is a little clunky. I found a solution to it which is not intended, which makes it a worse puzzle than it would be if it only had one solution, because that's how it is with puzzles. You only want it to be precise. And because I found a second solution, which is 10 times worse than the original solution, which is pretty. Wow, that was like a cartoon moment. Yeah, I'm losing my mind here. It's because of this, I would put it on a must-have, but as of now, I would say it is a fun puzzle. Let's go to the Cast Dia puzzle. Cast Dia puzzle is another puzzle with a hidden mechanism. You do not understand what's going on until you finally take it apart to the 4 pieces it's consistent of. And the Cast Dia puzzle has something really interesting about it, with the small dial that feels like you're playing with some kind of machinery. And this is a really nice aesthetic. I think aesthetically wise, this is a beautiful puzzle. The solution is also beautiful, and the mechanism, once you realize what the mechanism actually is, which happens after you inspect the puzzle for a few minutes after you solve it, it is pretty good. It is pretty damn good. It is pretty damn good. I would say it is an amazing experience. It is a really good puzzle. I like the Cast Dial. What can I say? That's about it. Next up is the Cast A&A, and now this really blew my mind. It really did, because it is only 2 pieces and they are really simple. How hard can it be to take these 2 pieces apart? But the solution evaded me for such a long time, man. It evaded me. I could not find it for too long. Man. Why was it so difficult? I don't understand, but the solution itself is also really satisfying and beautiful. And it is on par with, I believe, the must-haves. And I cannot believe that I say this, but it is not a must-have Hanayama. And why is that? I don't know, something about the design makes me remember the past of my ancestors. I don't know if it's a good joke to say. Being a Jewish guy from Israel. You know what? Fuck it, I will leave that on the video, because we're here to have fun, and you may as well laugh on my expense. Yeah, so it's not a must-have Hanayama. Something about its design, like seriously talking, doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Like it's a really fun one. There's something loose about it and not too tight. A lot of options. I'm not linear. It feels like a little bit like an open world video game, you know, in a sense, I think you know what I mean. So I'll put in an amazing experience. It is really good. Last one is the Cast Radix puzzle. It took me 4 hours to solve this. Only has 3 pieces, and it's like a level 4 or 5 maybe out of 6. It looks this baroque-ish aesthetic, like some kind of a trophy or a trinket kind of thing. But I didn't like it. Maybe because I felt like a loser after solving it, having it take so much time and missing something really important. But something about it just feels too, I don't know. On a way, it is similar to Enigma in a sense, but I know I'm irrational. It makes no sense to place it there, but I think it's just not the best. It's not such a good puzzle in my opinion, although play-wise and design-wise, it is really like reminds of the Enigma puzzle, and it's definitely not bad. It's definitely not bad. The solution is pretty cool, but I felt like a loser after solving it, so it's not the best. Yeah, deal with it. It's stupid opinion, but it's mine. And I own this stupid opinion. So let's see if looking at the list, we can move something between places, because now we have the whole thing. And I think I will have to move one puzzle to a horrible waste of metal, time, and brain cells. And I will need to take from the not the best puzzles. Looking at them right now, I will take the Hyrule Crest, yeah, because I hate disentanglement puzzles. Let's even it out a little bit more, and I would say that from not the best, one more should be killed. And Cast Triple I really enjoyed, like, even though it's pretty difficult, I liked it. Cast Vortex, I do not hate it anymore, okay? Cast Arrows is fine, and it is cool to show to friends as well as the Cast Dice. Let us kill the Cast Radix, just because I'm a sore loser and I like to win. Let's see if we can even out the must-have Hanayamas, because I do believe that there is more than 4 must-have Hanayamas. I really firmly believe this. I think what I will do here is I will take the I think I will put the Enigma on the must-have. Yeah, it's a really tough decision to make for me, because the Enigma puzzle is not the puzzle I would say it's my favorite, but looking at it evidence-based and fact-based, it's a really good puzzle, so I will place it there. There are other really cool puzzles here that I believe are must-have. Only one puzzle I can fit there now is maybe the horse one, because it's also really good. It's like a classic puzzle. But I do not want us to have a too uneven map. And this will be it. I'm not gonna be a perfectionist. I'm gonna leave it like this. So what I will do, if like I were you and I would have to choose Hanayamas. First of all, if you have a lot of Hanayamas or you solved some of them, feel free to share your opinion in the comments. We'll have discussions here. But if you did not and you are planning to buy some, then I would say get all of the ones on the top. Get all of them. They're also pretty different one from another. Then, from the amazing experience puzzles, if you got all of these, then go get the Dial, Infinity, the UNU, and Helix. Get them for sure. And then also Marble and Horse are pretty good. And then from the fun puzzles, check out some of them and try the variety. Try different puzzles of different sorts. For example, try Master Sword, a Keyhole, the donuts, the hexagon, and the cake, because they're all really different one from another. And like what you want to do is to test the different types of puzzles and how they feel with you. So this is the tier list. I was here talking for almost 2 hours. I think it was like a 2-hour shooting session, and I'm pretty tired, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, like, it helps a lot. Subscribe if you want to see me again. Oh, and also if you want to see solutions of some of them, or like reviews or videos dedicated to these Hanayama puzzles, then I left a playlist here of the Hanayama puzzles. You can check it out.